rudimentary. Now I ask you, what is it that takes the shocks of the knocks and shocks of life? I'm asking, what is the shock absorber? It is the intellect. Having spelt it, you're not able to pick it up. It is the intellect that takes the shocks so that your mind is at ease, at rest. Just like the shock absorbers take the shock, the passenger has a beautiful, comfortable ride. Isn't it? So what he is saying is, understand that they are inevitable, understand that they are impermanent, and you learn to endure. All this is a capacity of the intellect. If you have not developed it, you will face the brunt of life. A time will come. Sorry, Ma? Intellect is not sixth sense. Intellect is that capacity to think. Like now you're thinking along with me. It is the intellect that is actually thinking. When you ask me something, it is the intellect that questions. I give you a document and say, please find the fault in it. What is it that does the examining? It is the intellect. What was the question you asked me yesterday night, Vaishnavi? That you were asking a joke. You said, what is wrong with A, B, C, D? What is that? Can you please find the mistake? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the question is, MISTAK. Find the mistake. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The question is, find the mistake. Then somebody answered that there is nothing wrong in the mistake because 1, 2, 3, Sudhakar Garu, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There is no mistake. Adda. There is a spelling mistake in the very mistake itself because the mistake is misspelled. It's MISTAKE. But our question ketanga MISTAK. Mistake, find the mistake in the 1 to 10. You must have that alertness to say, hey, there's something wrong in the very spelling itself. That's the mistake. The mistake is in the very mistake itself. What is it that does all that? Your mind doesn't do that. It is the intellect. A lawyer argues a case. And there's a reference to, I'm giving a reference to a very famous case. The entire case was based on a document. And the lawyer was defending heavily. And the opponent was a very brilliant lawyer. After all the argument he gave, establishing the case in his favor based on the document, the opponent lawyer stood up and said, sir, can you please examine the document? To which the judge said, in fact, we've been whole day examining the document. What examining the document? Literally, that fellow was very lazy, very relaxed whole day. Any objection? No objection. Any comments? No comments. That fellow was going on full blast, supporting his arguments, basing on a document. What document is there? This fellow got up and said, sir, can you please examine the document? The whole day we've been examining. No, sir. My lord, can you please put the paper against the light? He took the document and put it against light. He said, sir, do you see a watermark? Yes, there's a watermark. Do you see a camel watermark? Yes, I see a camel watermark. And then he established by proving that the document was forged. How? He had proof from the company which manufactured that paper. The letter was dated 1930. The document was manufactured 1932. Because till 1930 they had perhaps an elephant or some other watermark, and after that they changed. They had proof, so he gave a supporting letter from the company, and that proved that the document is forged. There's no further case. Case cancel. This is intellect. You need a brilliant intellect. This is, you don't get through law, because even the opponent lawyer was actually arguing the whole day. But you need the intellect to be able to see through. And you certainly need an intellect, not just an ordinary intellect. You need a very profound, you need a subtle intellect. Intellect also has to be gross and subtle. The fact that you're here, ma, you have a subtle intellect. Congratulate yourself. The fact that you're here. And you need a subtle intellect to understand what these people are saying. You can have a very sharp gross intellect. A gross intellect is, you can run your business, you can run mathematics, you can run accounts, you can plan your life, you do very, very precise things you do, but you may not understand anything transcendental. You don't understand all these values because you don't have a subtle intellect. You need to make a choice. Am I to get married or not? What is it that decides? It should not be the mind, it should be the intellect. Oh yes, I think I need marriage. Or yes, having decided to get married, whom do I get married to? What do I see in a person to marry? Her nose? Her eyes? Her hair? Her physique? On what basis do I marry? Sir, in the olden days, the boy may not even see the girl, but yet he gets married. He only sees perhaps on the day of marriage. And he ties a tali, because it's the elders who have decided, who have taken so much more into account. They have taken the gotram and whatnot. They have taken so much more than the mere physique of a person and choose a marriage. There is a much more into that relationship. In fact, it is a very auspicious bonding. It's so much study, you surrender to the scriptures or shastras and you study and examine, yes, this is a perfect match or closest match. You say all that is rubbish and you date a person and marry based on what he or she looks. I'm not saying, I'm not the old outdated person. Neither am I saying there's wrong with what you're doing, but on what basis you choose whom to marry? Sir, how many marriages today are having a harmonious relationship, sir? Earlier days, there used to be much more harmony. But nowadays, you do hear very often of there is a rupture, there is a crack in the relationship, there is a, friction, fighting, almost war. It's a war field. There is no harmony. So even to relate with other person, you need to have an intellect. What to eat, what not to eat, how much to eat. You need to have an intellect to say, enough, I think you have enough. Just because it's a buffet, just because it is free, you just hog, is it? You need to have an intellect, isn't it? If you can't keep yourself physically fit, you have violated the fundamental spirit of spirituality. The first aspect of spiritual is to keep yourself fit and healthy at the physical level. So the moment I look at you physically, if you are not fit, you are not fit to be a spiritual person. Because you can't control your tongue. What control are you talking about? Spirituality is to control what? Okay, what does spirituality boil down to? In fact, it boils down to that. Entire spiritual exercise boils down to controlling dash. Your mind. And with what do you control the mind, ma? Don't say sixth sense. Now you will not say so. You have to control it with the intellect. So it's the intellect that controls the mind. I remember as a kid, and I still see that at traffic lights, speed thrills, but it kills. It used to be a very old signboard. It used to be there in traffic poles. I still see certain places. You need to have an intellect to have that control, isn't it? So you need to apply intellect in, I'm speaking right now, I'm exercising my intellect to the most conscious extent because I need to make sense to you all.